Trillanes says she has a deep relationship with her predecessor, Leni Robredo. On our sister program Storycon, Trillanes claimed that the friendship between the two women was deep enough. He said it even influenced the stance of some key opposition figures when it came to the arrest of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Digong was arrested on March 11 this year and has since been in ICC detention.
During the course of the campaign, sinabi nila na ang position nila sa ICC ay hindi nila i-recognize yung jurisdiction at hindi nila ibibigay si Digong sa ICC kung naging presidente si Leni. Ngayon, in fact, as late as last year, nire-request yan sa akin nila Bam Aquino na baka daw kung pwede daw i-delay yung pag-issue ng arrest warrant kay Digong dahil baka daw makakaapekto sa kandidatura nila. Talagang merong alyansa sila eh.
Trillanes also alleged that Vice President Sara and Leni's alliance go as far back as the presidential elections of 2022. He also cited what happened in September last year when Duterte visited Robredo in Naga City. The former senator also called out the former VP's silence on impeachment moves against her successor.
Rosa, alam niyo yung Rosa, Robredo, Sara, na coalition. Na to the point na nung isang rally namin sa Pangasinan, hindi nila pinaakyat si then VP candidate Kiko Pangilinan sa entablado. Kasi nga dun sa Robredo-Sara alliance. So meron ng ganon ever since. Up to now, si Mayor Leni has yet to say anything about the impeachment trial of Sara Duterte. Alam mo, malakas na boses yan. Leni, pero she's quiet. Tapos yun na nga, yung binisita doon. Alam nyo, based sa information namin, yung pagbisita doon sa Naga, ano yun maagang na-set yun. Hindi naman yun yung 30 minutes na short notice. Kumaga, naman tayo, ginagawa tayong parang bata. Alam natin yon. Tapos talagang hinos niya. And ako bilang insider doon sa mga pink, talagang alam namin na may mga ganun sila nagalaw. Kaya nga sinasabi ko sa 2028, I'm not inclined to support Leni because magkaalyado at magkaibigan sila ni Sara Duterte. Yun po yun.
When asked if he had anything against Robredo, whose presidential bid he supported 3 years ago, Trillanes said he had none. The former senator ran under Leni's slate in 2022 but lost.
Nagma-micromanage yan si Leni sa kampanya noon. She will just feign ignorance para may deniability. Meron siyang ganong mga taktika para makuha niya yung mga kumaga best of so many words, kumaga. Pero alam niya yun. Siya yun eh. Meron lang kasi ang karamihan sa inyo, meron kayong image of Leni Robredo as somewhat parang pristine na pagkatao na naive sa politika. No, alam niya yung mga taktika na ganyan. By the way, that doesn't make her a bad person. Ang sinasabi ko lang, meron siyang mga ganong laro. Nothing against Leni Robredo. Sabi ko nga, she's a good person and under peaceful conditions, she would probably be a good president. But we're not living in such a world. We're living in a very dangerous world now na maraming mga evil forces at play.
As to the possibility of more ICC arrests over the Duterte drug war, Trillanes told One News that it will happen sooner. He is expecting 2 or 3 personalities going the way of Digong Duterte's fate and could include police generals earlier tagged in the war on drugs. Trillanes particularly mentioned Senators Bato de la Rosa and Bongo, but he said Vice President Sara Duterte will not be arrested yet.
It's not gonna happen soon, but it will happen at some point. We're looking at end of the year.
Now, is there truth to the statements of former Senator Antonio Trillanes? Let's hear it from Attorney Barry Gutierrez, former lawmaker and spokesperson to former VP Leni Robredo. Welcome to the Big Story, Barry. You are already shaking your shoulders in laughter. My first question is, isn't it too early to be talking about 2028 if that is what former Senator Antonio Trillanes wants us to discuss?
Well, I have the utmost respect for Senator Trillanes, and I don't disagree that 2028 should already be on the horizon of any serious opposition effort to actually field a strong candidate in 2028. In fact, I think one of the lessons of 2022 was we should prepare early. That was really one of the takeaways from that experience. So talking about it, talking about 2028 this early, I think is not out of the question. I actually think it's a good conversation to have. The earlier the better. But it's a different matter what you are actually talking about.
Well, yes. Okay. What is if they are friends? What is the impact? I mean, what is the relevance?
Well, let me address that to begin with. If Sara Duterte and Leni Robredo were friends, particularly in the 6 years where we were in the OVP and VP Leni was vice president, she certainly had a strange way of showing it. Sara Duterte herself attacked Leni Robredo several times, calling her fake VP, giving space to the allegations that there was massive fraud in the 2016 vice presidential elections. Allegations which were thankfully ultimately dismissed by the Supreme Court when the protest against her was trashed. But the point is, if they were friends, it certainly did not appear to me that way, having been on the front lines of having to answer so many attacks coming from the Duterte administration in those 6 years, including some coming from VP Sara Duterte herself.
Okay, let's talk about the post-Duterte administration years, where, well, there was a meeting in Naga, and according to Senator Trillanes, there's the former VP or the Naga mayor is silent on the impeachment, silent on the arrest. So maybe it's on her side. She's, I don't know, assessing, being more savvy, politically savvy, maybe you can say that.
I mean, I've talked personally about that meeting last year so many times already. And my information comes directly from the vice president herself. I have no reason to disbelieve her. I take her at her word on this. And her version is that she received short notice that Vice President Sara Duterte would drop by. And obviously, as a good host, she had to meet her. The vice president was going to her house in Naga. So I mean, I think that it's that the entire meeting thing has been
Blown out
done
of
to death.
proportion.
That it's some kind of secret meeting, that some kind of political strategy was at work here. No, it was a visit. If anything, it was probably VP Sara Duterte who was banking on the buzz that the visit would generate. And, if that was her intention, she certainly got her money's worth.
Okay, well, we are talking about the Peña Francia Festival, right? In Naga.
Yes.
And that was, kasi sabi ni Senator Sonny, check nyo sa Google. But if you check Google, that's really the only thing that comes out from the search. So are we categorically saying, Attorney Barry, that was really the only time that they met? One-on-one at least.
As far as I know, even during the 2022 transition, where supposedly we were setting a meeting to help the staff of incoming Vice President Sara Duterte, she never showed up. There was never a personal meeting between the two of them. And again, if they're really friends, wouldn't you want to actually meet with your friend so as to further facilitate the transition? But that never happened. So the first time they met in, I think, 6 years or more was during the Peña Francia visit last year.
And that bit about Senator Kiko Pangilinan not being allowed to go up the stage, did that happen actually? Maybe for other reasons or what?
Rosa daw, Rosa. Ano ba yung Rosa?
Well, I can't speak to the specific event in where was it? Pangasinan? I don't remember, but the Rosa thing certainly came up during the campaign. And again, I was asked directly several times about it, and very, very clearly, the position of then Vice President Robredo was she had only one vice presidential candidate, and that was Senator Kiko Pangilinan. We went on record several times to emphasize that precisely because there were some groups, and this is again a matter of record. There were some groups, the group of former Speaker Pantaleon Alvarez. They threw their support behind VP Leni Robredo sometime March, April of 2022, late in the campaign. And my understanding was their position was it should be a Leni Sara ticket. But that's their position as third parties who are coming in to throw their support. But the campaign's position, and certainly VP Leni's position, was that her only candidate for VP was her running mate, Senator Kiko Pangilinan.
Well, Attorney Barry, one point that former Senator Trillanes has been emphasizing was the silence of Vice President Robredo in the impeachment of Sara Duterte, despite her being an influential figure, a big figure in politics. But help us explain why Vice President Robredo has been silent.
Well, let's be very clear. VP Leni has been silent on national issues for the last 3 years. I mean, it's no secret that she has actually decided to focus more on Naga. When asked, she has always said that I've given the last 6 years to the national political scene. And I have actually decided that for these next few years, I will be focusing on my hometown of Naga. Hence her decision to seek a local office. She's now mayor of Naga City in lieu of actually running for, let's say, the Senate or some other national office. And it's not just the impeachment. It's so many other things. I mean, every now and then, a hot political issue will hit the national scene, and invariably someone will ask, why is Leni Robredo not speaking out on this? Well, it was her choice to focus on the local politics and the local situation in Naga. I don't know if there has been any situation where she was actually asked by media about a national issue and she refused to answer, or she said that I don't want to speak on that. But I as far as I'm aware, she has been focusing on Naga, and that's really the reason for the supposed silence. Although, if you look at the recent midterm elections, she was very, very active in actually campaigning for Senator Bam Aquino, Senator Kiko Pangilinan, and the other candidates that she was supporting.
Abalos.
Well, yeah.
Tulfo, Marcoleta.
Attorney, I also wanted to get your reaction to something that Senator Trillanes also said, and that's may image kayo kay Leni na pristine at naive sa politika, pero kabaliktaran siya, hindi naman siya masama, marunong lang maglaro. He even said that she's just feigning ignorance, but she really micromanages when it comes to her leadership, her political influence.
Well, isn't that a good thing?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't that Senator Trillanes paying Leni Robredo a compliment by saying that she's a savvy politician? I'd agree. I mean, she is pretty sharp when it comes to making political calls, and we were witness to that in the 6 years that we were in OVP with her. She had a very, very keen political mind. Now, but it's one thing to say that she is politically savvy, and it's another thing to insinuate that somehow means that she's dishonest. I think those are two completely different things. And to be fair to Senator Sani, he did not say it outright. But if the only point is she is not clueless she is in fact politically savvy, then the only thing I can say is, that's true.
Where do you think this is coming from, Attorney Barry? These are like
Yeah.
really specific examples.
Ano ang motivation ni Senator Trillanes? One thing that he said also was supposedly Senators Bam Aquino and Kiko Pangilinan were asking him to help in delaying the arrest of the former president, having him sent to the ICC because it may affect their chances in the recent elections. He said that. So anong motivation behind all these?
Well, first of all, I shouldn't be the one you're asking about his motivations. He should have been asked that in Storycon. I have no idea. I mean,
I know, we weren't there, plus your friends, di ba?
We are.
Magkabiruan kayo, magkasama kayo sa politika.
We have not talked about this, and I was actually pretty surprised that he came out with these rather controversial takes this morning in his interview. So I don't know I suppose his objective is ultimately to say and support his opinion that he thinks that VP Leni should no longer be running for president in 2028, and we should be looking at someone else or other people to actually be standard bearer. Well, as of now, she has not made known to me any of her plans. She's very much focused on Naga and doing her job as mayor to the best of her ability. So I think right now, running for president or any other national position in 2028 is the furthest thing from her mind. She has only assumed office, June 30? So that's barely over a month as mayor. So I think that her entire focus is still very much on that point. So I doubt very much that she has actually given any deal of deep thought to 2028, much less what her specific plans for a possible national run will be for the next election.
Pero ibabato ko rin sa'yo yung sinabi mo kanina. What happened in 2022 was proof that, you really have to plan early.
I agree completely.
Asan
Kung wala pa yung plano na.
Oo nga, ano yung plano nyo?
Well, the opposition is not just VP Leni Robredo, right? The opposition is a lot of other people, including Senator Sonny Trillanes.
Exactly, that's why I'm asking, doesn't necessarily mean Mayor Leni Robredo, but others. What are your plans for the coming 2028 elections?
As far as I'm aware, conversations have already started regarding starting a possible process, some kind of primaries, similar to what they do in the US. Although, of course, we don't have as strong or robust a party system like they do. But some kind of open primaries process to get the ball rolling, get the names out there, and get the sense of which people could actually be strong contenders for national positions in 2028. And I think that's something that should start as early as possible. And I'm glad to see that that's already happening this early. Now, if people like VP Leni at some point make a decision that they want to be part of this process, they want to be considered, they're interested in throwing their hat in again in 2028, then that's certainly a possibility that we should remain open to.
All right. So why do you find this laughable?
Well, one thing I found amusing was the whole ICC thing, because one, VP Leni is very clearly on record. She was interviewed by Boy Abunda. I remember it very clearly. And she said that in that situation, she would extend full cooperation to the ICC if she would be elected. And beyond that, she would push for the Philippines rejoining the ICC as a full member if she was going to be elected. So it's strange to me to hear this entire storyline about Duterte not getting arrested. Now, as to the claim that Senator Kiko and Senator Bam talked to him, well, I don't know the details of that, but all I will say is, wow, lakas pala ni Senator Sani. Sa tingin nila Senator Bam, di ba? Kasi pwede pala niyang i-decide kung kailan ma-aresto si dating Pangulong Duterte. So I don't know. That's something that I suppose only the people who were in that conversation can shed light on, and I was certainly not involved in that.
I look forward to your being in a podcast with him soon. Attorney Barry Gutierrez.
I'm sure that will happen.
Yeah.
Former spokesperson to former VP Leni Robredo, maraming salamat.
Yeah.
We're going to be pausing for a quick break, but coming right up, a chat with Transportation Chief Vince Dizon about the upcoming expansion of one of the country's busiest airports, and a lot more. When the big story returns, stay with us.
You're watching The Big Story here on One News. Construction of Siargao Airport's expanded terminal building will begin this Friday, August 8th, tripling its passenger capacity once completed. The building is expected to accommodate up to 750 passengers from the current capacity of 200. The improvements fall under the directive of President Bongbong Marcos to enhance travel experience. Siargao Airport is the main gateway for tourists en route to Siargao Island, the surfing capital of the Philippines. It currently handles 17 flights daily. DOTR Secretary Vince Dizon ordered in March for a modular expansion, the removal of the VIP lounge and redundant X-ray machines in the airport. Dizon added he envisions the gateway to be an international hub featuring an extended runway and a world-class passenger terminal. Siargao Airport is part of a 16 billion peso bundle offer by the Gokongwei's JG Summit and the Gotianun's Philinvest Group to take over its operations alongside the Francisco Bangoy International Airport in Davao and the Southern Luzon Airport in Albay. And nearly 6 months into the job, the transportation chief is facing a host of issues to resolve decades-long woes besetting commuters and passengers. And to give us updates on the initiatives and the projects that he spearheaded since taking office, we have with us in the studio Secretary Vince Dizon. Good evening, Secretary.
Good evening.
Welcome
Good evening.
to the Big Story. Okay,
Thank you.
so
Good to be back.
straight down to business. EDSA rehab muna dahil we are all suffering the unusually heavy traffic. Parang Pasko na. So
Yes.
when will that happen? Although we know that you're not just the agency in charge of this.
Yes, as you know, the president ordered a pause of the project to for DPWH, the lead agency, to find a better way and a faster way of doing it. No? Sabi ni Pangulo na, 2 years is too long. No? It's too long a time to burden the motorists with the rehab of EDSA, with the rebuild of EDSA. So I think DPWH is still in the process of finding a better ways, but they've already announced that it's not going to happen this year, but we will see if it will happen next year or which part of next year.
Say in the sauna, not unless they build the diversion, the Guadalupe diversion.
Oh yes, this is for
bridges.
Guadalupe Bridge.
Yeah,
Yes.
for the Guadalupe Bridge.
So I think the Guadalupe Bridge will happen, but it needs to happen after the
Okay.
detour bridges have been built on the southbound and the northbound.
So the pedestrian greenways which is under you, di ba? Will have to wait.
Yes, unfortunately, because that needs to be part of the bigger rebuild of EDSA. So I mean, it's long
Sayang,
overdue.
we were
but
looking forward to that.
Yeah, so was I, but unfortunately, we really can't burden the motorists as based on the president's directive that it's too long, and I think the DPWH is currently looking for ways to make it faster, to do it faster.
Okay. let's move on over to our airports. Of course, the biggest piece of news today is that consortium between the Gokongweis and the Gotianons.
Yes.
I believe they've already done Clark, and they
Yes.
got this package of 3. We were talking about this before. This is a really good deal. Siargao, Davao, and Bicol.
Yes. Yes. It's part, as we've discussed in the past, I think that, in order to allow our airports to really be run properly, maintained properly, and expanded quickly, I think the only way to do that is really through a public-private partnership. And I think with the passage of the new law, this has unlocked a lot of potential for these major infrastructure projects to really happen under a PPP structure. And the unsolicited proposal that we received from JG Summit and Philinvest is the first bundled unsolicited proposal that has been accepted and received by the government. So we're very excited about this because it will mean
It has to be
that,
subjected to a Swiss challenge.
of course. It has to go through a process of negotiation, of review, and then eventually, if it gets there, to a Swiss challenge, before it is eventually awarded to the
And if
proponent.
I may, did they get to pick the 3 airports? It is an unsolicited.
They
picked.
picked it. I guess they feel that the combination of those 3 airports makes
sense.
Makes sense to them economically and financially, and they also feel that that's where they can make the biggest impact. Obviously, Davao is the biggest among those 3 because it is our, I think, our 3rd or 4th biggest international gateway. It is one of the 4 major international gateways, NAIA, Cebu, and Clark being the other 3.
But your original idea when we were discussing this was that you're going to lump, let's just call a spade, a more desirable airport with maybe a medium desirable airport and a less desirable airport so that hindi naman kawawa yung mga parang mga less traveled airports.
Yes.
But this one has like 3 really good airports.
I mean, I guess volume-wise, maybe Bicol would be the smallest in terms of volume. But Bicol is also a very well-developed airport. It's brand new. Actually, it was just finished at the tail end of the previous administration under Secretary Art Tugade, and it's actually a beautiful airport. It's one of the best made airports that we have so far. So it's actually easier for the private sector to take that over. The more difficult one is Siargao. Because it's small. But
you need to extend the runway.
Yes, we need to extend the runway, and it's a challenge, because you have the mountains and the ocean, so it's a challenge to do it. But as you saw earlier, as you showed earlier, we are already, even prior to a unsolicited proposal becoming reality, we are actually starting the expansion, the modular expansion, as you said, of Siargao on Friday. We're going to groundbreak on Friday with Sec. Cristina Frasco of the Department of Tourism, and we're very excited for that. And it's a very well-designed airport. It was designed by Royal Pineda, who designed Clark as well, and also Mactan. So it's a modular expansion which we feel we can build quickly. Maybe within the next 8 months.
So tuloy pa rin yan, kahit na while the PPP is...
Tuloy, kasi hindi naman natin alam kung kailan o kung matutuloy man itong unsolicited proposal.
Gano'ng katagal ba yan, i-review yung proposal ng JG Summit?
I think minimum maybe 6 months, I think minimum.
Tagal din.
Matagal din. And then, syempre may Swiss challenge pa yan, that's another 90 days, that's another 3 months.
How about NAIA? How is that airport doing since being turned over to Mr. Ramona?
It's doing a lot better. It's less than a year. San Miguel took over in September of last year, so they're just slowly approaching the first anniversary. But I think just within a year, I think we've already seen a lot of substantial improvements. In terms of just the speed with which people go in and out of the airport is already a huge improvement. I've heard anecdotally people who have used it. I have used it. It took me 15-20 minutes from the time that
I had to wait so long because
I deplaned up to the time that I rode my
it's much
car,
faster now.
yung sundo ko. So but the improvements continue, no? So, and the major improvement that we're going to be seeing, I think, in the next couple of months, will be the installation of the new e-gates, no, which have been offered by San Miguel Corporation as a donation, no, to the national government. So, ito, malaking bagay ito.
Ano yun?
Ito yung mga nakikita nating mga gates na, di ba ngayon may e-gate tayo, pero unang-una sa arrival lang siya, di ba? Ngayon, ang e-gates ngayon, departure and arrival na.
Okay.
So, and itong mga e-gates natin na luma, kailangan pa yung boarding pass.
Sobrang tagal
Ang tagal,
mag-scan.
minsan hindi nagwo-work dahil luma na rin.
So yung mga scanners,
Yes.
parang, okay. You
Parang
don't
sa abroad
need
na.
you don't need na immigration
Pilas.
official.
Yes, there's no more face-to-face, ano, no, para sa mga, especially for Filipinos and OFWs especially. But apparently, I've been informed that these e-gates are the more modern ones na, where you scan your passport once, it gets your biometrics, and then the next time you go through it, mukha mo na lang, no? Wala ng passport, tuloy-tuloy.
So parang
Naalala
Singapore.
ka na.
Parang Singapore na,
Oh, parang
Hong
Singapore.
Kong. No? So, yan, malaking bagay yan. And continuous ang improvements sa ano. And kung makikita nyo, yung dati sa ating mga medyo mas nakakatanda, naalala natin yung Philippine Village
Talagang sa akin
Hotel.
nakatingin.
Yes, Philippine
Yes, what
Village
will happen to that?
Giniba na. Wala na
Okay,
siya,
and
it's
then
gone.
it
It will be Terminal 5.
Okay.
It will be a new terminal. So it will be another domestic terminal para mawawala na ang domestic sa Terminal 3. Lilipat na lahat sa Terminal 5
Anong
at Terminal
mangyayari sa 3?
All International.
What about 4? Terminal 4.
Well, ang Terminal 4, giniba na yon kasi wala na yung dati, no? Yung lumang,
Yung
yung
maliit
dating domestic na maliit, no? Yun, kasi delikado yun eh. So it's actually a safety risk, that terminal, because of the pathway of the airlines, of the airplanes that pass along that area. So, yun gagawin ng exclusively cargo terminal sa ibang area. So, San Miguel is slowly but surely, putting things in order, and things are, I think, a lot better now, but they're going to get significantly better after the first anniversary.
Well, Secretary, if I may ask a question. From airports to train lines, the DOTR recently implemented the fast lane, cashless na, no? But some commuters complained na medyo nagkakaproblema pa rin sila.
May problema talaga kasi pilot pa lang talaga yun, no? But I think the main problem that our commuters experienced was magta-tap in ka, let's say with your GCash, no? Tapos ayaw niyang mag-tap out, no? So ibig sabihin, hindi lang sa hindi ka makakalabas, kundi yung balance na ibabalik dapat sa'yo, hindi bumabalik.
Kakainin niya. Parang mas mahal yung trip.
Yes, kasi because you are charged the entire line of 28 pesos as you tap in. And then paglabas mo, let's say, 3 stations after, yung hindi mo na konsumo, ibabalik dapat sa'yo yun. No? So, minsan may mga instances na hindi sila nakaka-tap out for whatever glitch, no? Or whatever reason. So, ang ginawa na lang natin doon, para naman hindi ma-burden financially yung ating mga commuter, kasi hindi naman nila kasalanan yun, no? Na meron pa rin mga glitches habang nagpapilot. Bibigyan natin sila papakita lang nila na nagka-problema, and bibigyan sila ng buong ticket worth 28 pesos. No? Para mababawi nila, magagamit nila yung ticket na yun. So, we apologize to our commuters, but we're still going through this pilot stage. But we've already...
Who's your partner there?
GCash and the banks. No? So, Land Bank, RCBC, and the other banks. Kasi apart from GCash on your phone, yung e-wallet natin, pwede ka na rin kasing mag-debit at credit card. No? So, nakakatuwa din, no? But it's still in the pilot phase, so still a lot of things that we need to fix, hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
Well, Secretary, about the subway, I actually share the sentiment of Mayor Vico Sotto na medyo nalungkot siya na yung dito sa Ortigas na
Malungkot
subway
talaga.
hindi matatapos by 2028.
Yes.
But what is the plan there? Ano? Because the DepDev also listed the Metro Manila subway under programs that are at risk, kasama na rin yung North-South
Yes.
Commuter Railway. How does DOTR plan to sustain
Ako din, nakakalungkot. No? Unfortunately, reality bites, ika nga. No? So,
What's the reality?
Specifically, the reality in that Ortigas station was that there was a groundbreaking in 2022, late 2022, and it's already 2025, middle 2025, and wala pa rin nagsimulang construction doon kahit nag-groundbreak na nung 2022. So,
Dahil?
right of way. No? So, dahil hindi makuha yung possession nung... There's a lot of there are a lot of contesting parties in that area, in this
You know,
metro
right of
walk.
way, these right of way issues have held hostage all our infrastructure.
You're absolutely correct.
So, anong gagawin natin? Ganun na lang?
Hindi. So, kailangan talaga, I was asked the same question the other day, and I said, ang solusyon talaga sa right of way is kailangan tutukan. Yun talaga, no? It sounds simple, but
Sino
actually,
tututukan
ang gobyerno.
natin?
Ang gobyerno,
Kaya ba
walang ibang...
kaya ba talaga makuha sa maayos na usapan kung tutukan mo lang yung may-ari? In the case of that,
Depende. Kung hindi naman makukuha sa maayos na usapan, expropriation
The state,
na yan.
diba,
The state
can
can.
expropriate.
But the problem is, first of all, the processes are quite long and difficult. But even if they are long and difficult, the problem most of the time is that since nga hindi natututukan, hindi nangyayari, hindi naayos. You know, problems don't solve themselves.
So yung right of way,
You gotta really...
pero dun
is
sa
it the village that it will...
No, it's the metro walk.
Metro walk.
There's a problem kasi there, no? There are a lot of...
PCGG yun. Sabihin na natin,
It's
right?
a PCGG
PCGG,
property.
which is a government agency.
So shouldn't
But
it
there-
be easier? Kasi
no,
government...
may contesting...
May claimants.
May claimants na iba eh.
May claimants na... Isn't Singson part of it?
Yes.
Chavit
yes.
Singson?
Yes.
Can we not appeal to his... to
Actually,
withdraw?
we've
Philanthropic
done that.
heart.
Oh, you have?
We've done that. We've spoken already, and I think we are close to a solution, no? Without having to go through the very difficult expropriation process. But for the other parts of that, kasi hindi lang naman Metro Walk yun. There's another, again, we will be aged by this, but yung dating payanig sa
Payanig
Pasig,
sa
no?
Pasig.
Yung ano dyan, no?
Metro Walk din yun, diba?
Hindi, dun sa kabila
likod,
yun.
sa likod
kabila
niya,
yun, sa
oo.
kabila. No? So, malapit na sa dun sa Julia Vargas area.
Sa
no?
may-
Sa kanto
yung-
ng Julia
yung may
Vargas.
It's so
Golf, tsaka
ironic
may
when the
kotse.
government, that was actually surrendered by JY Campos to the government.
That's
And then why are there claimants when the government should be the owner?
That's absolutely correct. Yun din ang tanong natin
Yeah.
lahat, pero it is what it is, and you know, but I think now na nakausap natin and naghahanap tayo ng solution is we're almost there. And for the part of
Almost.
Almost.
Sa right of way.
sa right of way.
Okay.
Yeah, we're almost there. And
Okay.
ang parts of the area there, yun nga, yung dating payanig sa Pasig, in-expropriate na natin yun. And we already got the writs of possession from the courts, and we can already start coming in. That's why
Who were the claimants?
yung mga leaseholders, may mga leaseholders kasi doon, no?
Long-term sila.
It's
So,
really a very convoluted situation there, no?
Yun nga sabi mo, kailangan ng tutok eh. Kasi
Kailangan ng
how
tutok.
did government lose control of that property in the first place? Pero sige, wag na nating
So,
bisita.
ayoko na hong balikan
Kasi
na,
1986 pa yun.
Oo, no?
Sec,
sige,
you
sige.
sent 4
Sorry,
out of 5 right-of-way,
Yes.
5 major right-of-way issues, diba?
Yes.
Is this one of them? Para
Yes,
malinaw.
ito na lang actually ang natitira
Ito
dun
yung
sa
pinaka-worst.
Ito na lang yung natitira.
Okay.
No, the others have been, thankfully, have been resolved, and we are, for example, the issue underneath
The Posh
Katipunan
Village,
Avenue
okay.
in White Plains, that's already been resolved. In fact, ano na yun, no, na-settle na yun, hindi kailangan mag-expropriate doon, nadala sa maayos na usapan. Kasi
Are you leading the talks yourself?
Yes, but we also got someone who is nakatutok dito. No? She's a former city administrator of Angeles City, so she's used to you know, fixing problems like this, and she's nakatutok dito sa mga problema to. So we're very happy with her and her team, and she was actually instrumental in getting the 4 issues of the right of way for subway resolved. No, in just 4 months, I think.
So what will you tell Mayor Vico now?
Well, no, we told
He's helping you, diba?
we told he's helping us a lot, no, especially with the permits. Alam mo naman, no, marami ding mga kailangan pang gawin, no. Pero ano, I think our target for Ortigas Station is 2031 na matatapos yung Ortigas Station.
Other
Kasi
than-
3 years
okay.
na delay eh. Kung totoong nagsimula ang construction noong 2022, 2028, dapat tapos na talaga yun.
So other than that, kamusta yung other parts? 'Di ba? Ano 'yan, kung saan pwede na mag-start, sinimulan na nung tunnel
Sinimulan na.
boring.
So ngayon, bumibilis na tayo. Yun nga in fact, yung ating mga tunnel boring machines nasa ilalim na ng Katipunan ngayon. Papunta na ng Ortigas yun. No? So we expect them to reach Ortigas
Must be.
probably by end of 2026. No? Kasi
Okay, so
syempre,
next year.
ano yan, mga 5 meters per day ang biyahe niya. No? Yung mga
Wala bang way to
nagbo-board.
speed it up?
Wala eh. Yun na nga yung pinaka-high-tech dyan eh, ng mga Japanese tunnel boring machines. So I think they can go up to maybe 7 meters a day, but syempre,
Okay.
we have to err on the side of caution there. No? Kailangan dahan-dahan yan.
Nasabi mo yung North Rail will be at least opened up to a certain portion
By
by the end of
2027, we will have Valenzuela to Malolos up and running, meaning people can now ride the train and take the train from Malolos to Valenzuela and back. No? By 2028, before the president's term ends, we will reach Clark already. So there were also a lot of right-of-way issues there, especially from Malolos to Clark. No? In the areas of
2000 pa yun eh. Hindi
Ang
ba?
tagal na. Oo, ang tagal na niya. I mean, North Rail. Actually, North Rail, time pa ni President Ramos yan, 90s pa yan.
Ah, 90s.
The original North Rail was in the 90s.
Sa
pa.
thesis ko pa yan nung college pero wala pa rin siya, ang tanda
Yeah.
ko na.
Pero
sa-
ngayon, it's in fact, if you can see the segment from Valenzuela to Malolos, it's practically there. Nakikita mo na talaga yung and in fact, the trains will start to arrive by the end of 2026. No? So we're gonna start testing those trains by early 2027.
And under the DOTR, Secretary Vince, meron pa bang mga proyekto where we took out foreign loans or are partly foreign funded na nakulangan ng budget? And that's what makes them at risk. That's what makes the DepDev flag them. Are there
That's
any...
one of the reasons. No, it's obviously the problems in the 2025 budget compounded that because sabi nga ni Pangulo sa kanyang latest podcast, no, yung foreign assisted projects ang pinakamalaki ang tinamaan doon. Sabi nga niya, hindi lang yung project itself, pero yung reputasyon natin, no, kasi may mga commitments tayo sa ating mga foreign lenders, no. So yun din ang medyo tinamaan, no, dahil doon. At sinabi nga niya na hindi na niya papayagang maulit yun sa mga susunod na taon. So, but apart from that, it's really the typical problems of right-of-way acquisition and the like, no, that really put these projects at risk. Because they are really at risk. No? When we came in, the North-South commuter rail and the subway were at least 3 years delayed, at least. The subway maybe even 5 years delayed.
And the rest of the Dalian trains, are they going to be rolling out soon?
The president gave the directive to roll out the remaining 39 by 2026. So that's what we're going to strive to do.
So they're still being retrofitted or whatever
Fixed
the term is.
and retrofitted, tested. I think we can run the other 6 within the next couple of months, definitely before the year ends, and then hopefully slowly we can add more and more as we progress.
What about the Commonwealth? Is
Common
that
Station.
MRT?
MRT7.
MRT7. Yes.
That one, since that is a PPP, although it's also long delayed because of, again, right-of-way issues, I think we can safely say that by 2027, from Trinoma to Sacred Heart in Quezon City, that's 12 stations, 12 out of the 14 stations will be ready by 2027. And then, now that we've resolved, again, a major right-of-way problem in San Jose del Monte, there's been nakapag-usapan na ng mabuti ang local government at ang San Miguel at ang DOTR. So, tingin ko by 2028. But I think baka after the president's term na yun.
So next year, wala tayong makikita.
Big launch, you mean? Like a big...
Wala siguro. Na major. Wala. Siguro, makakapag-testing na tayo ng Valenzuela to Malolos by next year, towards the end of 2026. But in terms of operations, 2027 is going to be a really a milestone year for for not just for the president's term, but for the entire country. I think a lot of stuff.
Speaking of the MRT-7, during Typhoon Christine, it was parang people said it
Yes.
caused flooding. It caused the flooding along Commonwealth.
Yes. Aminado tayo doon, pati ang San Miguel, no? I mean, and like we said nga, during that period, minsan hindi talaga natin maiiwasan. No? Kapag may ginagawa, yung debris, yung may makaklag dyan, ang maganda naman is, you know, San Miguel worked with us, with the DPWH, with the MMDA, and the city government of Quezon City to kind of clear those up. No? And I think there's this waterway that needed fixing that I think San Miguel.
So
helped
temporary
out as well.
situation lang yon because of ongoing construction, meaning pag tapos na,
I hope so.
They were saying kasi na baka may nadaanan siyang daluyan ng tubig, like a natural waterway.
Yes, that is being looked at. No, that is being looked at. I think they're looking at somewhere in the Batasan area. They're looking at a waterway there just to make sure na hindi siya nabara dahil sa construction. No?
If I may refer to the stoppage of the train earlier today because of lightning strike, ano yun? That was just
It happens, unfortunately.
force of nature.
It happens. It happened to LRT 1 just a couple of weeks ago. It happened to LRT 2 today. But thankfully, it was it caused a stoppage in one of the stations. So from Cubao to Antipolo was stopped at around 2:40 p.m. But at 4 p.m. it was able to resume.
So ganun
normal
talaga, we
operations.
cannot prevent these
It
from
happens. No,
happening.
that's why for MRT-7, they changed the design. It's now the electrical systems are now below. They call it the third rail. They call it the third rail. It's no longer the usual cantilever wires on top. But we just have to really fix those problems as fast as we can. And thankfully, this one was fixed within an hour.
Well, we thank you for your time, Secretary.
No, thank you, always.
Just some parting words, I guess, for ano bang masasabi mo sa mga kababayan natin.
Maybe for our kababayans who who go through the terrible experience of commuting every day. It's hard. And if I may just maybe paraphrase what the president said during his SONA. He feels the pain of our commuters. That's why, while he has instructed all of us in the infrastructure agencies to fast track all the big ticket projects that will provide the ultimate long-term relief for our commuters with the subway, with the NSCR, he has also told us that we have to address the daily pains of our commuters, and we help in whatever way we can. So the discounted fares that he has asked, the Love Bus that he has asked to revive, but now free, and not just in Metro Manila, but in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. In fact, we're launching it in Cebu and Davao in a couple of weeks.
That's under DOTR, no?
Yes, that's under DOTR. And also the other pains that we can address through cashless payments, limiting the lines and the queuing, and all of that, just to give some reprieve to the very difficult lives of our commuters is important for the president.
Thank you so much, Secretary Vince
Thank you
Dizon.
so much.
Well, in other news, a reaffirmation of alliance. That's how President Bongbong Marcos described his visit to India. Marcos received a ceremonial welcome, complete with a gun salute upon his arrival at Rashtrapati Bhavan, the official residence of the President of India. Indian President Draupadi Murmu and Prime Minister Narendra Modi led the welcoming delegation. During the meeting, they laid out signed bilateral agreements on security, trade, technology, and energy cooperation.
To build upon what we already have had, but certainly to explore the many opportunities that have arisen in the past few years because of the new technologies and the changing state of the global economy and the geopolitics around us now. Thank you.
We're going to take another quick break for now, but when we return, DSWD Secretary Rex Gatchalian has spoken up on his predecessor, Senator Erwin Tulfo's suggestion to scrap the agency's flagship program. Keep it here on One News.
Welcome back to the big story. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, is open to reforming the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino program, or 4Ps. But Secretary Rex Gatchalian insists all amendments to the program should be justified, must be based on data, and humane. Gatchalian also confirmed talking to Senator Erwin Tulfo about his suggestion to scrap 4Ps. He asked to be given the chance to defend the program when Congress summons them to budget hearings. Now they're studying possible improvements, such as higher aid for families with children in senior high school. From 2023 to 2024, 1.4 million families have graduated from the Pantawid initiative. Almost 4 million are still part of the program.
Meanwhile, Senator Risa Ontiveros calls on Congress to revoke the president's authority to adjust rice tariffs. President Marcos signed Executive Order 62 in June 2024, which cut rice import tariffs from 35% to 15% until 2028, subject to review every 4 months. Ontiveros said the order led to a flood of imported rice and severe losses for local farmers. She filed a joint resolution with Senator Kiko Pangilinan and Akbayan lawmakers to reverse the tariff cuts. Ontiveros warned that if the issue is not fixed, fewer farmers may plant rice by October. We've run out of time again this Tuesday. Thanks so much for watching The Big Story.
We are One News, all sides, all the time.
We'll be back here tomorrow at 7:30. See you then. Have a good night, everyone.